Uh, music. Oh, there it is. Hi, guys. Welcome, finally, to Radio Choco's first podcast. And it's going to be an interesting one. Not even going to pretend. It's going to be interesting, at least for me. I know that much because we're talking about one of my curious fixations, Fallout. Like, Fallout has been a big part of my life aside from D&D and Pathfinder since I was a kid. Fallout 1 all the way to Fallout New Vegas to the new Fallout 4 to Fallout 76. I just hope that they fix a little more of that sometime. Like, I'm not even gonna pretend it's okay for now, but they did botch the launch. I'll admit that. Hayami, welcome, welcome, welcome. So nice to see you. Now, let's see. Where do we even begin? All right. Maybe we start off with the series. Let me just switch the music over for a little second. Just a hot second. Let me just figure out this. I know this is tavern music, but I don't have anything that would go well with anything serious at the moment. That isn't mine. But here it is. We started October 31st, 2077. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's having a great time during that. Thank you, thank you. What it said. Suddenly, everything just starts going in a flashbang of nuclear light. That's how it starts. At least. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot. Silly me. Spoilers! Slight spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen all of it, I suggest look away. Look away! But, if you don't care for spoilers, well, here we are. We start off with the end of what was known as the old world as we know it. And to me, the fact we got more perspective on the more fun and entertaining parts of the old world where, you know, we're seeing people having a party, grabbing drinks, celebrating a birthday. And suddenly the bombs just go off. And I'm just like, what? What? We're starting this now? We're starting off strong. Alright. Now, why is this important? Well, one, it gives us a fresh perspective on other people around California in that section where everything went nuclear. But also gives you a perspective on one of our big characters that becomes what is known as the Ghoul. Again, there are spoilers ahead. Also, yes, I'm wearing meat for what? I don't know what you mean, but let me tell it to you. This is gonna be fun. Because once we get to that point, we start going 219 years later. Aqua? That's Borderlands. That's not Fallout. That's Borderlands. Which, by the way, Borderlands is a fun game, especially Tiny Tina's Wonderland. That's a good one. But, anywho, before we get into more of the series, we have to look at the perspectives of what happens after the fact. The bombs fall, people escape to the vaults, and we are met with Fallout 1. Fallout 1. Oh, hi, Lane! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Oh, thank you for the lurk. Fallout 1, where Vault 13 is this. Hold on, let me see what the chat is saying. The robot butler is annoying. Funny enough, we'll get to that, how he was made in a minute. In a very hot minute. But first, Vault 13. Now, Vault 13 was known for supposed to be known for its water supply. Clean drinking water. In the game Fallout 1, the water chip breaks. I know, right? Terrible. Absolutely terrible. In my perspective, it's a little confusing how that happened, but we were sent out as the Vault Dweller. Sent out on a mission to save our vault. We had 150 days to get the water chip done. Which brings us to one of our main areas, which is also in the Fallout series, Shady Sands. Shady Sands, like the first main tutorial town that you're gonna walk into. Like, hi, how you doing? Ah, yes, I forgot. Oh, yeah, I forgot my Nuka-Cola, by the way. Nuka-Cola is a thing for the Fallout universe. I don't own it. Neither does Coca-Cola. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. This is an alternate timeline. This is the all regular. Now, with that said, when we're in Shady Sands, where we're actually just meeting different people, companions, and faces that would shape the world as we know it. Why is this important that I'm emphasizing Shady Sands? Well, in the series Fallout, the Fallout series on Amazon Prime, by the way, thank you guys for that. We do at one point end up there. Or at least the characters do. We have 3 main characters in this entire series. We have a Brotherhood of Steel initiate, or aspirant, who is from Shady Sands. No, it's not because of that. It's just named Shady Sands for some silly reason. I don't recall why. But we also have Lucy, a Vault Dweller, from what is known as Vault 32. No, Vault 30. Yeah, Vault 30. Oh no, it's Vault 33. My bad. Eep. I can't help with that one at the point we're live. But also we have the Ghoul. Now, why is the Ghoul semi-important to this? I thought fully important to this scenario. Because if you see the series, you've met him before at the beginning. He wasn't ghoulish. He was not ghoulish at all. He's actually the cowboy who was with us in the beginning of the show. Although, he's more than he seems. We'll get to that in a little bit. Because, fast forward into Fallout 1, Shady Sands, after the events of Fallout 1, after the events of The Master, which is a main antagonist in Fallout 1, Shady Sands grows into what is known as the New California Republic, the NCR, the Sunset Sarsaparilla drinking kind of people, the Sunset people, as some people in other parts of New Vegas would call them, the Sunset people. They would go on to try to bring out old world values, old world anything really. But this does beg the question though, why is this important? Well, to me, it's important to note that because it's accurate to what the series is trying to portray. The series is trying to honor the fact that it has many aspects of many people in the world, but also the roots of where all the Fallout games began. To me, that is the coolest thing ever! Like, it's absolutely nuts. Loaf! Welcome, welcome, welcome! Now, I'd like to hear any sort of questions about either the series or the show, or the, not the show, the game itself. Like, welcome, welcome, welcome! I will take any questions, any curiosities, any perspectives at this time. But yes. While I wait for those, Fallout is indeed a fun franchise. What you miss? Oh, we're just talking about bouncing around from the games in the series and how they kind of connect to each other. It's like last time on Fallout. That kind of stuff. Ah, yes! We're talking about Fallout 3. In that regard, Aqua, we're talking about Fallout 3. Fallout 3, it has a DLC known as The Pit, which was former Pittsburgh, where everything was just completely irradiated. It was so toxic that radiation poisoning would be the least of your problems. Now, a former Brotherhood of Steel member built The Pit into its industrious form on the backs of many different people. I'm not gonna say what they are, because we all know it. We all know it. But they had a child. A scientist and this Brotherhood of Steel member had a child. Oh, you're talking about that one. Wrong one. Fallout 4. My bad. I thought we were talking about the other one. There's another one where it's stolen. But that's in the Pit DLC. Gosh darn it. Oh, sorry. I was going in canonical order. But Fallout 4. Yes. Why did they steal the child? Yes, it was a dying faction. And they needed a person to take over that was completely healthy. That could do it. That could be untouched by radiation and properly tended to and influenced to be for the Institute. Although, we were the backup. We were the absolute backup to everything. And years later, we were brought out into the world just to see what would happen. Yeah, they killed them all because they didn't want anyone else to really get in the way of doing that. She had the child, she was in the way. That was unfortunately the tragedy of it all. Oh, Loaf, we're talking about the factions. Alright, let's start with the main one. Us, the Vault Dwellers. We're the faction that's basically like, you know, unbeknownst to us, experiments. Lab rats. Outright lab rats. For all the experimentation of the old world America. Yes, I'm hydrating a little for this one. Then we have the former Cathedral. The Grand Unity, the Holy Flame of Unity. That was in Fallout 1. Now, honestly, they were working with the Master. The Super Mutant Army's Master. That one. Or Masters, because they were multiple personalities. They were snuffed out real quick. Then we go to Fallout 2. The Brotherhood of Steel. Honor-bound. Stalwart. Crazy. Like, they are from Old World America, if Old World America's military actually went into knighthood. That's how they went about it. Especially stopping Old World technology from being used and abused in the wrong hands. I would have to say, if anyone was the most dangerous before they got snuffed out, the Enclave. The Enclave was the Old World US government. The Old World government that decided, because the strain of the world was too irradiated, they needed to mix FEV into a cocktail that everyone could be destroyed in. That wasn't, you know, them without, because they were without radiation. They had none of that. And the power armors that they used to walk around would save them from that. Not much like the T-60s, but it was enough. The Institute. Yes, the Institute. The Institute is one of the more dangerous factions because the body snatching tactics of taking people and replacing them with what was known as synths. Hold on, what? Are you telling me we have the Enclave in the new update for Fallout 4? Cool. Alright, let me talk more about that. one of the guys that I remember I could not escape was the sergeant in the Enclave in Fallout 2. If he caught you, especially without power armor, he would either think you're a spy or that dumb to be on personal stations of the Enclave without the greatest of power armor there is, the Inferno power armor. We talked about this. He's a robot. Now, onward! We have the NCR, the New California Republic. Old world values in a new world. Yes, they try to do everything under the sun to bring about old world values. Old world leadership. All of that. They try to expand it in many places. From the Californias to the Mojave Wasteland. Where also we meet our other faction known as Caesar's Legion. Caesar's Legion. If you met the Roman Empire at some point in time, if you ever learned that ancient, honestly, that's the guy. That's the guy right there. They will follow the ways of the Roman Empire. Also, yes, I understand. I don't know why Nick was not romanceable. I guess he just wasn't into it. Like, I will say it. He wasn't romanceable. I don't know why. I mean, the robot's got charisma. He's got the riz for an old robot. But we'll talk about that later. My point is, these factions outside of the Institute, small ones like the Minutemen, the Railroad, and many more in the other Fallout games, like, God, there's so many chapters of the Brotherhood of Steel, I can't even think about it too much. Now, with that said, all of them on the up and up. The Minutemen are like old world colonials from Columbia, like from the colonies. They follow those kind of values. Whenever someone needs them, the Minutemen are there. The Railroads, liberators, people who are all about freedom and respect for all beings, even robotics. Now, in Fallout New Vegas, there's also the factions of, like, Mr. House, Robert House, which is actually, funny enough, somewhere in the Fallout series. And I'm like, they're really touching all the series, and I mean all of them. Like, oh my god! Now, if only we could have gotten a perspective of other places in the Fallout universe, just in that series alone. But it was 8 episodes, so I'm pretty sure they couldn't cram it all up. But the way they touched on it, the way it was handled. You know what? That's fair. But it's interesting to say. If you want to play Fallout, the regular Fallout, like the first Fallout is on PC on Steam. But we're not sponsored by them, so I'm like, ah. But Bethesda and other people who had made the other Fallout games, yes, it was glitchy. Yes, they were insane. But still, it brought about a love to hate and hate to love kind of relationship with the community. Like, seriously, it is fun. And the lore behind, like, the DLCs that can really dig their heels into. For example, if we go with Fallout 1, the summary. Fallout 1, get the water chip, save your people, stop the growth of the super mutants. That's what happens. Then we go to Fallout 2, where Tribal, years later after the events of a lot of the Fallout universe, where Tribal's heading out to save our tribe that was born from the Vault Dweller, finding a Gek, only to realize the Enclave has basically messed with everything. We gotta stop them. We gotta stop them outright. And so we do. With the help of the Brotherhood of Steel and many other companions. Oh, we're going down that road, Loaf. What made me fall in love with the series? because of the bleakness at first. The absolute bleakness at first of, you know, a world gone horribly wrong. What should have been a nuclear source of power was turned into a weapon that nuked the world outright. Everything seemed hopeless. Everything seemed crazy with this sci-fi induced world. But every time we get somewhere within, there's a hope. There's a hope for a better chance, better world, or you can destroy it, you know? It's like you have the choosing ability to either make the world into a peaceful one or outright destroy it. And also, the characters are so fun. They're so fun to chat with, and sometimes the graphics, yes, they were glitchy, but it made up for a lot for the story, especially Fallout 1, 2, 3, New Vegas. New Vegas was one of my favorites. Fallout 2 is close second. Haha! Fallout 4, pretty okay. I'll admit, it's got its ups and downs, but it's a pretty okay. It's a third. But the outright also the insanity and the references to every Fallout thing in the DLCs. And then the factions. Some of the factions that actually stay there. I can't even talk right now because I'm so excited. I can't even talk straight. Because what made me fall in love with Fallout was the way you could also customize your character. It was like D&D, but in a post-apocalyptic world. If you want to do lasers in science, get yourself a laser pistol. Let's go. Hack every computer. Get every scientific thing possible. Are you more of a guns guy? You want to spit lead? Grab a minigun. It's a 5mm. Follow me. Let's go with the Brotherhood. Let's become absolute daka. But the lore itself behind it all, and the stories with every faction, is what really sold me. Yeah, the graphics can be hell. The graphics can absolutely suck. But that's what I enjoy. Sometimes there are features that cannot be ignored. And to me, that is the greatest thing ever. Now, it doesn't come with without its flaws, because, for example, sometimes the games will crash. There's a playlist with over 300 videos of Fallout 4. No, oh god, I think that's either Oxhorn or someone else. I can't recall. But what got me amused is also the references, the many references in Fallout, especially in New Vegas, where the Wild Wasteland perk, you can even see stuff from like Indiana Jones, or just little references from different movies, like old movies from the 1900s to like any of the 1900s. And then some of the dialogue can actually change. Oh yes, Oxford. He's actually a good guy when you get to know him just a little bit. I haven't gotten to know him personally, but I know he's gone through a lot and he's working on it. I respect it. But we're going back to the series now. The series actually touches on these millions of references, paying tribute to some of the greater parts of the Fallout series. To me, that's interesting, that they could actually have... I don't know if there were fans working on this project. I do not know. I would have to double check the behind the scenes if there's any, or triple check, because I want to find it first, get the first check in, but I don't care. It was pretty fun. Also, sorry if you hear wind. I'm kind of rocking back and forth. Aqua. Listen. I'm not risking radiation. There's no way I'm risking radiation trying to smash. No. That place is nuclear. So are the people in it. Now, I'm not talking like radioactive hot. I'm talking like... But anyway. We don't talk about that. Now, before we take a small break on the whole thought of Fallout, Eels, can I help you? Lizzie, can I help you? Anyway, oh, sorry. We're gonna take a small break from the Fallout talk and switch it up a bit. I hope you guys have been enjoying this part of the entirety of our little podcast. And with that said, I would like to talk about some of the stuff we're gonna do with Agent Inc. Agent Inc. and I have been big braining some merch, big braining some stuff that like stickers, keychains, all that good stuff right there. If you want to know more about that, like, comment, subscribe, because we're gonna have a at one point a nice little shop going down, and I want to keep y'all updated about that. Because the end game of it all is delicious chocolate. Yes, chocolate. Like that's one of the big things about the brand that I'm putting up. Chocolate. Honestly, that's my big non-sponsored sponsor thing for the day. Another thing I'm working on is trying to get more semi out of pocket shorts out with different cover musics putting up and about. I'm really excited about that. I'm really happy that I get to just bring that about. This podcast is sponsored by Agent Inc. Go get your Venom Monster merch there. And honestly, they're really nice people. They work with me really nicely, and even brought my own designer into boot. They let me bring my own designer, and I'm happy about it. Now, before we get into any sort of Fallout talk any further, I want to say thank you all for being here so far into this. You guys are what make the magic happen. Now, back to the show. Fallout. An interesting concept. I'm pretty sure that there was a time where Fallout was so close not to being Fallout at all. I'm trying to remember. There was some stuff on that, but I can't remember what it was. Ah! With that said, the Fallout series has had its ups and downs, especially with the way it goes about post-nuclear life. Like, if we went scientifically, we know that for a fact that it wouldn't be able to be happening because there would be a cloud of irradiation overhead and everyone would not be able to survive, even if they went underground and came out years later. Yeah, I'll think about that later. We'll talk about that later. But Fallout modes, like I can't do those because that would mean that I have to pay Bethesda out the butt for it. I can't imagine that me having to pay tribute to them because I'd rather be like, fan stuff. I'm not gonna sell that. If I have to, I will use support and tell them go visit their sites and all that. But we'll get to that later. Bethesda themselves did a good job with the series. Now, back to that in its instance. Why the first Vault Dweller that we were talking about in the series, Lucy, was heading out into this world? For some reason, their father was taken. Their father was snatched up by raiders and was walked out. At least, I believe, in the most part, they're raiders. Or I will at least leave that they are. What they are really, you'll have to look for yourselves. Because I don't want to fully spoil that at all. But then, we pan over to a Brotherhood of Steel initiate aspirant known as Maximus. Maximus is an ambitious person in the Brotherhood of Steel, but he's not the brightest or the most honest. At one point, he actually ends up, I think, hurting one of the other aspirants that's going to be anointed into Squire for a Brotherhood of Steel knight named Titus. Huh. That might. Oh, a Ravager. Like, depends on the Ravager. Like a Ghoul Ravager. Oh god, those are like walking irradiated corpses that just will tear you to shreds even with armor on. Kick your butt in a second. It is absolutely terrifying. Also, if that's the case, I'll think about it. But yeah, as I was saying, he ends up going with Knight Titus into the wilds for a target. A remnant of the Enclave. Funny enough, the Enclave's just everywhere. Yep, you know, I'll keep that in mind. But Ravager ghouls are very dangerous. We see what happens, especially in the Fallout series, what happens when you turn into one, I think. Last I double checked. And that's a terrible way to go, honestly. Now, ghouls, if we want to go down that route, in the series they're portrayed as people that could easily turn because the radiation finally catches up with their brain and melts it, making them feral, outright nuts. But why do we know this right now? We'll get to that later, because I'm trying not to go into too deep of spoilers for anybody's ears that may not want to hear the spoilers. What do you mean, fell in a pitfall again? What the flip? Hang on, I've got something talking. I've got some stuff in my ear. 1 second, please. But also, while we're talking here, while I'm taking care of this, but yeah, in the series, we're just dealing with that essentially. Now, we've noticed that there are 3 characters. Let's talk about what happened to the ghoul that was formerly known as the first person we meet in the series. Technically, he becomes a bounty hunter. He's been doing this for over 200 years. Bounty hunting, whatever he can to get by. And honestly, it's nuts how intensely jaded this person has become. Losing everything, probably because of the nuclear explosion, losing everything and everyone. In those instances where he was just hanging out at a birthday party. And now, he's a bounty hunter, doing what he can to survive, and doing what he must to keep his sanity. Why is that important? Well, if you take the context of what happened in the series, which you can watch yourself, we'll get to that in a little bit. Look, we'll get to that next sort of stream, because I want to keep talking about what happens every time, and I would like to keep you updated and keep myself updated on people that have watched the show or not. It's a fun show. Uh-oh. 1 second, guys. It seems that I may have to be pulled away. Which means for this little pilot of this Fallout chatter, honestly, I might have to cut it off for next stream. But fear not, guys. There'll be more streams like this. There'll be a lot of fun things to be had like this. As you guys hear me chat your ear about Fallout, D&D, Pathfinder, you name it, we've got it. Do me a favor, guys. If you want to see more of this, hit the like button, subscribe, comment on everything, and make sure that it gets sent out for everyone to see. Thank you. Thank you. And remember, stay sweet, Bunsters. Then I Bunster,